People, some of the
We are live, Sumantra. Hello, everyone, to another session of Mana Wellbeing Dialogues in partnership with MTHR Global. I'm extremely sorry we've been facing some technical glitches at our end and were not able to start at the stated time. Uh, Hello to everyone. Please show a hand if you're here. Would like to see who's here uh, and say hi to all of you. My name is Vipul Agarwal. I'm a co founder of MTHR Global and I'm your host for the day. Uh, with MTHR, folks who have been connected to us, people who know us, um, and for the benefit of people who don't, we've been doing these sessions on well-being. Well-being has been a part of the HR, conversations for a few years now. One of the things that we realized over a period of time has been that HR somehow has been sidelined in this whole conversation of well-being. So while HR has been responsible for well-being, no one is talking about the well-being of HR professionals, and which is why we wanted to dig more into it, figure out, are our assumptions correct or not, and in partnership with Mana Wellness and with IMT Hyderabad, we have launched a series of conversations around the well-being of HR professionals. Now, what we've been doing so far has been, going around various cities and creating these CXO, CHRO roundtables. We've been to Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai. We'll be going to Delhi and a couple of other cities as well soon. Uh, and where we're talking about basically well-being and how organizations have been looking at it and how HR well-being uh, has been a part of the organizational journey. At the end of these CXO roundtables, we will create India's first indigenous study on well-being of HR professionals, and that study will come out to you. Obviously, you will need to be a part of it. Uh, and that will give us some insights as to how HR has been impacted, by all these responsibilities of well-being, wellness, and what organizations are doing to address it. So, amongst all these conversations is what we are doing today. Uh, Mana Wellbeing Dialogues is essentially a part of uh, is part of what we've been doing every Thursday, getting HR leaders to come and speak about wellness, well-being, and we've been learning from them. Before we begin on the actual session, please note you're free to ask questions. Type in your questions in the chat box anytime during the conversation, and we'll try and pick them up, as we can. Sumantra Mitra is our guest for the day, and he's a senior vice president HR with Glenmark Life Sciences. He's been part of the MTHR journey for a long time now. Welcome, Sumantra. Looking forward to having a great conversation with you today.
thank you, Bipul, and sorry, the viewers. There are still we are facing some technical glitches, so I thought of not missing this opportunity and connect through my cell phone. And thanks to Manha and MTHR for giving me this opportunity.
Perfect. So glitches are part of our lives. As HR folks, we learn to handle them uh, every day as part of our jobs. Sumantra, let's talk about. Let's start by speaking about your professional journey so far. Can you share with our viewers what has been your
Sure.
professional journey so far?
So, Vipul, this is almost my 22 years of career in HR. I belongs to a place called Shantiniketan in West Bengal. This is quite
Wow.
famous for,
Yes. Absolutely.
it's a place of Rabindranath. I studied there. I completed my graduation there, and then moved on here to to Maharashtra to do my further career. I have stayed more number of years in Maharashtra than West Bengal. So initially, I'm a 98 pass out. So people used to fancy about doing industrial relation. So we all had our aspiration to become a industrial relation professional. So I also had the similar kind of aspiration to start my journey as an industrial relation professional. So I did my MBA. So after doing a graduate from Shantiniketan, I did my post graduation from Pune University. I did my diploma in labor law from Symbiosis. I did my law from Bombay University. All of this are my some part of my qualifications. Uh, I started my journey with a small infrastructure company. I worked for a year there, and then for large part of my life, I am associated with pharma organizations. I worked for a company called Gufic Biosciences Limited, then moved on to work for Glenmark for almost 8 years. I have been fortunate to have exposure in the areas of HR, IR, OD, talent management, entire gamut and various setup of HR in pharma organization. Then I moved on to work for Mahindra. I worked there for 5 years. A lot of learning. My orientation towards strategic HR happened there. Then I worked. Then I thought that I'm ready for a CHRO role. So why don't I take up an assignment? So I joined Neil Kamal there. I worked there around 3 years and then joined back Glenmark to one of their independent business entity. It's called Glenmark Life Sciences Limited. We are into API, active pharma ingredients. The things which does wonder to your body when you take a medicine. We research, develop, and manufacture and sell that, right?
Okay.
So that's what about my journey in career.
So we're talking about well-being today, Sumantra. Uh, Wellness, well-being. As HR professionals, we've been kind of talking about this for some time now. Uh,
Hmm.
what is your personally? How do you define well-being?
Yeah. So Vipul, when we get up in the morning, and if we feel to come to the workplace energized, and feel excited about doing something unique, and making a difference in the life of the people, that's what I look at it. And every time the career things doesn't go well, right? So
Hmm.
I just want to take a piece of it. uh, in my second stint with Glenmark, this is my fifth year, and not for a single day I felt like that okay, I have already completed 5 years in this organization. So I always feel energized, charged up to start my day, and that's how I would like to define well-being. See, when we
Hmm.
talk about well-being, it's not about only physical wellness.
Hmm.
It's about total wellness, wherein I am enjoying the work, I am socially connected, and mentally agile to, mentally agile and aware to do the things what I'm aspiring to do. That's what well-being is for me.
So you are saying essentially being productive, being is what makes you happy. Being socially
Yeah,
connected, being productive.
absolutely.
In our times when we were young, well-being and wellness was kind of thrust upon us by our elders.
Yeah,
यही करना है, सवेरे उठना है, बाहर जाना है, whatever. Those were the parameters that we kind of. So it was essentially our elders who used to drive that, and over a period of time, it got inculcated within us. And yehi khana hai, this is good for you. You eat this, you should do this, you should do that. Those instructions were easy. In today's
yeah,
time, things are not as simple. There's too much of noise around us. There's too much of advice around us. There are too many opinions around us. What is your life mantra? Is do you have some kind of a life mantra that you live by for your own wellness?
Okay, so you know, uh, we the ages has progressed so much in a shorter durations. We do a lot of reverse mentoring, right? My son is undergoing his 10th standard, and I learn a lot from him. And you don't have an option, right? I have only one son, and if you have to really really be pally with him, and you have to be with him, then you'll have to learn their way of working.
Correct.
Yeah. So he's undergoing ICSC board exam now.
Mm, mm, mm.
And I keep on telling him, and the way Vipul you told that our parents were always used to tell, do this way only. I mean, if you get engineering, then only you have a life, otherwise you are not there, right? I mean, you are not the so whenever I tell him, right, that you'll have to do study, your exam is undergoing, he said, look, what is matter? What does it matter, right? Matters the score, right? Whether I am reading 5 hours, 50 hours, you should be concerned about the outcome, not how I'm going to do, right? See, essentially, the learning that I take it, right, that if you are being productive by doing a mindfulness and not missing a single thing in your life that you want to do while being physically active, physically and mentally and socially active, right? And why I am taking a piece from my son's way of walking, my, my son's way of studying. I mean, sometime I'll be in my sitting room. He will coming from his Baba Barcelona jeet gaya, right? Mind is going on, right? So he doesn't want to miss the life opportunity, which is which is. So I actually connect my life learning from there that we'll have to earn our livelihood, we'll have to be financially stable, all of these things missing while doing that, right? And that's the question always occur to me. Coming from
That's a
like Shanti
fantastic.
Niketan, I
That's,
have been always uh, active in theater, dance, uh,
mm,
what not, clay modeling. Of late, during COVID, I started learning Esraj online, right? Esraj is a
wow.
musical instrument. Yeah. So whether I am living my life, which is a total life, right? That is something that
Correct.
I aspire, and that is what my
That's a fantastic
over to
response.
you.
We kids have so much to teach us, and we all kind of look forward to learning from them as well. Let's change tracks a bit. Uh, we've been having these leadership conversations with other leaders as well, and almost always everyone has shared that the organizational journey towards well-being has been a circuitous one. Now you are in an organization which is into the business of healthcare. Okay, so how is it that you deal with well-being of your employees? What is the well-being journey for your organization? What is it that you guys think about well-being as?
So, Vipul, uh, I'll I will narrate a study what Gallup have done in March 21,
Hmm.
and they were writing it that how wellness and well-being, uh, what is the difference between in wellness and
Wellness
well-being. And while
and
doing that, they chalked out 5 areas, right? Other 4 areas. And you ask me my experience or being Glenmark Life Sciences in the path of well-being had been in these 4 areas. Okay. The first area, we use one thing prominently in the organization, which we call meaning engagement. Okay. I think well-being is strongly connected to, and when we are talking about over around 4 area, which is that typical definitions of PD or ILO talks about the well-being. Second is social well-being. Third is financial well-being, and fourth one is community well-being. And this is what Gallup is talking about, and we correlate it very. So when we are talking
wow.
about career well-being, and which is connected to the meaningful engagement. So in the organization, we develop a culture that most of the time we drive things from top, right? We always talk about top down, etc. Right?
Correct.
Here we said a synchrony of top downs and bottoms up, right? We are an API, so there are a lot of activity happen on the shop floor in the manufacturing area, right? And it can start from manufacturing output. It can start from a smallest mistake and create a havoc in the safety. So all the leadership, including the site leadership, we gathered together and we wanted to reinvent the wheel. We said that we want to change the way we look at our front line, and we want them to take full part in the initiative that we are doing in terms of well-being of the people. And to begin with, we'll talk about career well-being. And we introduced an initiative called iPro, Improvement Projects. And here we don't drive it. We have got an initiative called President Club. So we have got around 500-600 people working in the shop floor who are prominently drive initiative. So they bring in initiative, they put it across, and they create a project out of it, and they assure us that they will take this and they will ensure to save an X amount of cost or opportunities for the organization. Last 1.5 years, 2 years, and including the period of COVID that you are talking about, we have saved 14 crores and 167 projects that we have gathered, which is improving the efficiency and various initiatives that we are talking about it. That's what we are talking about, career well-being. Social well-being, we have got an initiative called GMY, Glenmark's Energetic Mind. And they are essentially the people who are our around 67% of populations are Gen Y populations. Okay, so we engage them. They create various social group, and they take initiative. And somebody, let's say, as intense as like we have a safety videos or safety series called Apna Vada, right? These people has created a actors club. The entire this series of 7 to 8 movie that we have created to improve our safety initiative, it has been done by this set of people, the GMY people. Talking about financial well-being, we have got structured program. We have got Subha, which is Step Up Virtual Academy. We keep on keep on giving input to the people in terms of financial stabilities, and every year in various period of time we have got this consultation amount about financial management and etc. Community well-being, we have a strong platform of almost 5 to 6,000 people in the group level. We have got an initiative, Joy of Giving, right? And then people come out with initiative in the social space that they want to work, and they identify projects. they gathered their contribution and company double up the contribution what they have gathered in
Wow.
various area. Let's say going down, adapting a school. Yeah, we have got another initiative.
Sorry, your voice is gone, Sumantra. I think we have a technical problem again with Sumantra's phone. So we'll wait for a minute for Sumantra to come back. In the meanwhile, Manoj, appreciate your comment. Living in totality with balance in all spheres of life. Yes, I think that balance is required because even with well-being, sometimes we tend to go overboard in one of the areas. Sometimes I've seen people go so crazy about gymming that everything else takes a backseat, and that's not very healthy. Yes, you need to do it, but at the same time, like Sumantra said, that there are other areas of well-being that one needs to kind of take care of as well. It's not just the health; it's also finance, it's also community, social. There's so many other areas that one needs to take care of. Welcome back, Sumantra. So, folks, if you have any questions, please do ask. Type in your questions, and we'll get to see it, and we'll take them up. As time comes. So, on a more generic note, Sumantra, the
Yeah.
pandemic, I think we should look at, and especially we as HR folks, though we were more sensitive to it even before the pandemic, but for the leadership at least, the pandemic has brought focus back on people, back to humans, back to human centric policies. Well-being of employees is one such, if I can call it, a new focus area.
Mhm.
uh, do you generally think, while your organization seems to be doing a lot of work in that area, do you generally think organizations and leaders give it its due importance, or is it more of a lip service? What is your sense?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? I mean, in fact, we ourselves in an organization has undergone this journey. Glenmark, we are quite known for our aggression and speed that we take immense pride of. I mean,
Wow.
today we are almost $2 billion company, and that has happened in a journey of last 19 years. Uh, so last time when I was working for this organization, it was 500 crore. Today we are 15,000 crore, and I mean, my company as 1200 crore 2019. Today we are almost 2400 crore plus minus. Uh, so for a, and you know why I'm giving so much of data about my
Hmm.
organization, because I'll tell you why. Um you know, the leaders. I mean, I will talk about our chairman or our MD CEOs. I used to see them calling us at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and all of that, right? I think overall there is a extreme consciousness that it's a allow any time has gone to it's not all time, right? Uh, both of my groups, CMD and my MDs,
Hmm.
I have seen them. They are extremely prominent on their morning walk, not taking calls or not calling after certain period of time. Uh, I remember during COVID period of time, my CEO will come and tell in the meeting that sorry यार थोड़ा सो गया था, okay, and you know this would have been really unusual, right?
Hmm.
in the this will be really unusual in the earlier period. I
Correct.
think
Absolutely.
now,
We are
when
normalizing
we
it.
talk about restricting the boundaries, I think the leaders calls the shot and they demonstrate, right? That's one. Second, I think what has changed or changing, and I'm sure this is going to take time, uh, is the accountability, right? Uh, Many a time I have seen that it's on the charter and doesn't get implemented when rubber meets the road, right? So that's the second part that
Super.
which is changing,
Mm. Very
and
nice.
if people practice, then it will no more be a lip service, and you don't have to do a big things, right? I mean, where my as I told you, my CEO saying and coming down and saying that thoda so gaya tha, and then
Mm.
sometime we are saying that actually we have gone to the extent of saying that it's okay to have a afternoon nap, right? When we are a pharma
Wow.
organization, we were working 24 hours,
Mm.
right? During COVID period,
Cool.
and
Yes.
Glenmark was the first company who launched the medicine for COVID called Fabiflu. A lot of things were
Mm.
happening, right? But
Mm.
then
Correct.
we were only human, right? And we allowed that human thing to happen, and we said that look, it's okay. If you slept for 15 minutes and then you are coming and saying, acknowledging that sorry, this has happened, which is fine.
Mm.
That's okay with us.
Perfect. So there are fantastic points you kind of came up with. Finally we are humans. Or you're saying that the leadership demonstrates uh, finally, and they are accountable.
Yes.
Sumantra. So it reminds me of a CEO who used to call people at 6 in the morning to
Hmm.
his house
Uh-huh.
for his meetings. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and he used to be on the treadmill. So he would take meetings while he was on the treadmill,
uh,
and the leadership team members would come in and talk to him about what's happened in his sphere of work, and so so completely in contrast. But then that was
they,
25 years ago. Things
that's
have
like that. That's like that stress interview. You remember, HR people used to take interview and they said that, what is the heading today's paper? I mean, sometime I used to wonder during that period of time that what is that have to do with, my interview, that what is there in the newspaper,
absolutely
right?
absolutely absolutely. So, you know, it brings us to a question. Can leadership or can wellness be incorporated in the ethos of an organization? Of course, you mentioned a couple of points here, and can it be a demonstrable? You mentioned that word. Leadership should demonstrate. So, can it become a demonstrable leadership value? We talk about well-being as an EVP, an employee value proposition, that organizations now talk about very easily, and they say that we have these wellness programs and for employees and all of that. But can HR or can it be strategically built into the leadership value or values of an organization? And I'm not talking just about your organization that we've already discussed, but then generally as an HR leader, what do you think?
People, International Labor Organization has already spoken about it, and they have narrated that well-being is directly proportionate to the, if it is been done well, it is directly proportionate to the organizational performance. Okay,
Hmm.
so even if we consider that as a purely business purpose, I mean, for a while, forget about, I mean, let's take a example that you cited, that for those kind of CEO and those kind of organization who takes review on the treadmill, right? If they take learnings or a statement that ILO has made, right? I think making that as an organizational objective or value of the organization is not going to be any less, right?
mm,
It's any which way going to give a strength to the organization or value to the organization for sure. So for that aspect, I definitely think that that can be a value. I mean, that can be a stated value of an organization. But people, one thing, and I'm quite passionate about this subject, and
mm,
while being with NHRDN for their executive committee member, I did some work on the SME area, right?
mm.
And if you see people, a larger population, right? And look, they have got their own well-being agenda, and that cannot be narrated or chartered the way we'll be looking at the top 500 organization in the country.
Correct. Mm,
But when we talk about stating that as a value in the organizational value statement or value agenda, there are larger portion of the organization we are talking about which are still untouched, right?
mm,
Or which is still not able to think on that directions. I was going through an interesting article.
mm,
I think Business India or Business World has mentioned about it, and one of the CHR, I'm not naming it.
mm,
He, I mean, he was right. Skeptically, he mentioned over there that the amount of cost cutting or cost saving a business would be required to do because of the business losses that they have incurred over this period of time, right?
mm. Okay.
Uh, Well-being agenda will be kept in the shelf, right? After a certain period of time, right? And it
Mm,
will be
mm,
again business as usual. Okay.
mm,
So
mm.
I am contradicting, but I'm just trying to give
Yeah,
this
I agree with
perspective.
you. I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying. I understand where you're coming in from.
So in one hand, I am seeing that the corporations which ideally will be able to see the value, they will see a meaningful proposition to put it in the value that they believe that their organization live by. But there will be a larger portion organization who will still be thinking about it. And again, it's a public information. I know the largest corporation of the country did a, they are extremely cash positive. And some days back that I heard that they don't have any debt anymore, right?
Mm, mm, mm.
Those kind of organization, if you see, they had to do the salary card during COVID period of
Oh,
time, right?
mm.
And their spend on well-being, I have also seen it's not high. I mean, so this contradiction is going to remain the same until unless that become a culture and have the sponsorship or the leadership in that organization.
No, essentially, I agree with you. So essentially, what one also says, if you were to extend your argument, is that organizations which are mature in their wellness journey or well-being journey will attract more people, therefore, than those who don't. So there'll always be
Yes,
a distinction between those who understand and those who don't.
absolutely.
Perfect. So, somewhere during this whole pandemic COVID thing, HR folks became the vanguard for employee well-being. Is it really an HR agenda? It's a very, very pointed question.
Yeah, and it's an interesting question as well, right? uh, Now, it's my personal opinion. Till
Hmm.
the time it becomes only an HR agenda,
Hmm.
we will always struggle to push the envelope, and will always be skeptical whether this can be a organizational value. What you were asking in my
Hmm.
earlier
Hmm.
questions.
Hmm. Hmm.
Again, I will take a example from my organization, and look, we were working from the 20th March 2020 to all the period, right?
Hmm.
Not a single casualty we had. Not only that, we have gone to the extent of ensuring that no employee's family member, uh, dies or fallen in hospital because they don't have money or they don't have ability to
Hmm.
kind of medication. Some of the medication was quite expensive and available, right?
Hmm.
We could do that wherein we had that support from the leadership team.
Hmm.
No sooner well-being become an HR agenda, right? Then you will have to put a lot of effort to make it happen. Rather than it become boardroom agenda, it's easy
Hmm.
to handle, right? So I
Hmm.
don't agree to this fully that it needs to be an HR agenda. It definitely had to be a boardroom agenda.
So, but is HR equipped to handle this well-being wellness thing? You know, you talk about processes. Is HR really equipped to handle the entire well-being process that are being driven by organizations? Uh, they've never been taught about this. They've never had any education about it. Uh,
See, Vipul, overall, when we used to talk about, well-being,
hmm,
earlier we used to think only about wellness, that physical wellness, right? Doing their health checkup and in that they doesn't become, sick, so that they will not be able to do the same thing what they were been doing. That is the way we in HR and including pharma organization. Because why I'm repeating about pharma organization, because we have got some regulation as well,
correct.
right? That we are
Hmm,
supposed to do X amount of thing for the people because they are making medicine, so they need to be physically fit. Okay, so HR need to pass through this journey from an wellness to well-being. Obviously, we are not equipped. All of us not equipped. Let's so as to say, with the well-being agenda. But I think if it is directly proportionate to the business
hmm.
performance, I think we don't have any other way but to get into the group, right? So yeah, we are not fully equipped as of now, but we will have to be
So
as
essentially,
per
you're
our.
saying there's no way out. Karna hi hai. You have to do it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect. So we've been talking to a lot of HR professionals over the last 6 months or so, and uh, I'll just pause over here. Manoj Omre makes a point over here. Can we make well-being a KPI? As an extension of our conversation, let's talk about it first, and then I'll come to my question.
So again, it's an interesting thing.
That's
Many
the
a
KPI.
time, yeah, many a time, and Manoj, I beg an apology before making this statement. Many a time, we always felt that if we put it as a KPI, it would definitely be done. Okay, and I think anything which is pushed in the throat, right, would never happen, right? Until unless the head of the organization really feel, or the people from the bottom feel that they are. And I'll tell you, I was doing a leadership connect with my CEO and the leadership team member, right? And we used to do a family get together, a small agenda, and we thought that people are no more interested about it.
Hmm.
uh, there is almost 700 people were there in one of my site in Gujarat, right?
Hmm.
And people started murmuring family day, family day, family day, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody started saying that yeah, yeah, we should do the family day, right?
Wow.
So what I'm saying that if we put it as a KPI, we will force people to do that, but then people will not get convinced to do it, right? So that's the challenge that I foresee, Manoj.
Perfect. So Sumantra, we've been doing these dialogues for about 6 months now. We've been having these conversations around well-being and HR well-being and well-being of HR professionals and well-being of employees and so on and so forth. One realized over a period of time when talking to several of these folks in HR, a lot of uh, a lot of HR folks, like you rightly said, they take it on your karna hi hai. We have to do it. There's no option. Okay, but a lot of HR folks were really under a great amount of stress because obviously a lot of problems happening back at home, problems back in office. They are the first responders, so to say. So anyone having any problem would come and talk to them. people would share very openly about people dying, not able to have the right facilities available to them, and so on and so forth. So a lot of frustration kind of being kind of shared with the HR folks, and the HR folks would obviously get very frustrated in not being able to help or not being able to do anything. How does an HR professional handle such kind of a stress? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I mean, Vipul, good that you have asked. Most of the time, I go to that the quotation of that movie. That series was coming, Sacred Games, right? Wherein
Hmm. Hmm.
there is a quote is to be Aham Brahma Swami, Hami Brahma hai, right? कभी कभी लगता है
Amazing.
अपन ही भगवान है, right? There's another Bollywood movie dialogue, right? कभी कभी लगता है अपन ही भगवान है, right? So honestly, at the end of the day, we will have to understand that we are also an employee, we are also a human being, right?
Hmm.
uh, and sometimes as because we are in pharma and healthcare and all of this industry, so there is a thing called doctors fatigue, right?
Hmm.
So doctors actually go down, treat people, right? And nobody understand that they undergo tremendous stress and fatigue as well, right?
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, we are an employee, we are a human being, right? We always need to overhaul our physical, mental well-being as always, right? So hence, wherein we have a larger responsibility on our shoulder along with the leadership of the organization, I think we should also take time, make resolution for us, and ensure that we also remain healthy, right? If you really ask me specifically, as far as HR well-being is concerned, what are the things happening there? I mean, in one of our conversation, we figure out that talk time, reaching out to the people, and one of the to PwC, a simple thing that how are you feeling today, right? Earlier, people used to say as a customs, right?
Hmm.
People used to say that in if you UK, you need to really understand. I mean, start the conversation. You said, "How are you feeling today?" Right? But that "How are you feeling today" is not a statement anymore, right? It is actually a loaded intensive statement to the question to a person to be empathetic and to kind of give that support to the person that look, if you are not feeling well, you have got all the right to take a day off, go
Hmm.
early, right? All of that. So small things come in a long way, right? A lot of informal meeting, informal discussion with people, ensuring. So let's say when I drive back, uh, or when I come to office, I come a little late because we have a flexible time and I use my time. So I call people and try figuring out simple conversation. How was the day? What do we have planned for? Anything specific that you want to talk about, right? I think those small thing is really going to help to vent out people and make them understand that there are people who there are leaders who care about them.
So, interestingly, so that probably you would know that I am in the domain of talent acquisition search, and we keep talking to a lot of HR folks as well, senior HR folks as well, both on both sides of the table. Some who are candidates, some who are leaders in organizations, and what one hears from, at least what I heard from a lot of candidates on who were talking about their journey during COVID. A lot of organizations just left it to the HR folks to manage, and they said, "You manage it. It's your baby. If there is an extreme help that you need, probably we can give it to you, but otherwise, you're more or less on your own." And that was a journey that was very scary when I heard two three such people sharing about their experiences in organizations. It was very very scary for me. uh, how do leaders leave people to kind of manage on their own? Sumantra there? I think Sumantra is again having some problems with his uh, phone. Uh, we'll wait. We'll give him a minute to come back. So, like I was sharing, a lot of organizations, at least the one-on-one cases that one hears, it's been, some of them has been very very or chattering to me at least. HR folks specifically have shared that they've been under tremendous uh, stress, and they had to take that stress because they were the first point of contact. There was no one else. Uh, so, Sumantra, coming back to the question of leadership, probably this is the last question for the day. Uh, what talks about employees generally, not just HR folks, but employees globally generally are under a lot of stress. We see a lot of disruption play out right now. We're seeing a lot of disruption play out in the market. Uh, you know, layoffs हो रहे हैं. We're having offers being rescinded. People are asking to join in a delayed manner. There's firing that's happening. There's right sizing that's happening. Increments are not happening right now. Leaders, in some cases, are resetting the corporate agenda, and therefore, there's a lot of chaos within organizations. In such a scenario, how would you, as a leader, balance well being initiatives against a performance driven culture? Sumantra, are you there or lost you again?
I am there. I'm there. People, I have got some low.
No network issues. Uh, no, we can't hear you. Sumantra, we can't hear you. Sumantra,
Can
I
you hear me?
think no, very faint. Now we can see you.
Is
Yes.
it better? Is it better?
Yes. Yes. Now we can hear you. Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
So my question
Take
was, how
Mahindra.
do you, as
Yeah,
a leader? Hmm.
I could hear the question, Vipul. So I'll address that.
Okay. Perfect.
So Take
Perfect.
Mahindra once, I think they gave a statement. I mean, they get a that was their well-being quotation. They used to call wellness to business to
Hmm.
wellness before business. Okay, wellness to
Hmm.
business to wellness before business.
Hmm.
Okay,
Interesting.
so
Hmm.
a lot of things to learn from there, right? If you have people who are motivated, who feel charged up to work for you, right? I
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
think you need to go to the other line of thinking of how to reduce employee cost, how to curtail the well-being agenda. Where
Hmm.
a lot of my peer group organizations, they were actually issued a letter to the employee during COVID because pharma were asked to run 24 by 7. We actually not issued a single letter to the employees. On the
Yeah.
contrary, we actually distributed inconvenience allowance. Okay, and later on, most of the industry colleague followed us. Okay, so if you drive that as an agenda, because in a way, again, I'll quote ILO that it is going to be directly proportional to the organizational performance. I don't see at all that's going to be a agenda not to be kept into the first line, right? I would
Hmm.
see it in that way, right? So I don't look it as a cost line. I look it as a as a revenue line.
Hmm. 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 Perfect. Very well said. So I guess we are already over time. We've overshot our time. Uh, let's it's been a pleasure speaking to you, Sumantra, today. Uh, are there any closing thoughts that you would want to share with us before we sign off?
Yeah. So first of all, again, I mean, before we close, my apology because lot of network disruption, and side by side, I can see my laptop is still not getting repaired. They are still trying on that. Uh, so I will
No,
close the day with a
absolutely
quote
not.
from Aristotle, right, which says that pleasure in the job put perfection to the work. Pleasure in the job put
Wow.
perfection to the work, right? Uh,
Hmm.
it's a combined role to bring a pleasure for the employee if you are
Hmm.
reaching out for a perfection in the output, right? And well-being
Hmm.
is a strong agenda in the job, right? That's what I would say
Perfect.
as a closing statement.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So nice. Thank you so much, Sumantra, for being here. In spite of all the technical problems that you are facing, we still managed to have this conversation. Thanks to Ria on the background who really helped us through this. And thank you to Manaha for hosting us, making this happen. Thank you, everyone. Nice being over here. Hoping to see you next Thursday with another leader uh, and with another conversation. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Yeah, have a nice day too. Thank you. Bye bye.